friends, loved ones, family members of the dearly departed, we are gathered here in mourning to remember this season of one Demetrius Ja Morant. He was misunderstood. He was mocked, an outcast and a pariah. But he returned to save us, to whoop some Pelicans, to dunk on Wemby. But now, as quickly as he came, he has left us for good. But do not be sad that yet another year of Grizzlies' promise has been wasted. Do not weep for yet another lost opportunity. John, lift your head that the promise and hopes of years past have not been fulfilled. For in the next life, I want us to focus on the time of resurrection, when Brandon Clark will jump again, when Steven Adams will walk again, when Ja Morant once again raises his arm. But as we suffer through this period of loss, as we healthily grieve, I can think of only one person who can edify us, who can lift us with words of remembrance. It is one soul who has wandered the wilderness and is here to join us now to lift us up. I now turn the pulpit over to Brother Chuck Anderson.
Thank you, Keith. Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather here, and I wish to offer each and every one of you a heartfelt, hey now.
Amen. Thank you, Chuck. That was tasteful and brief.
That's never my style.
Ashes to ashes. Dust to dust. The flower fadeth, but the love of Josh will stand forever. Amen. All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone. I'm joined by Chuck Anderson.
Hey now.
And by John Burr.
What a beautiful sound.
John,
Who knew I could be this happy about hearing just a hey and a now.
I went full FM radio for yours, John. You were awfully silent during the funeral. Normally you pipe in with some jokes.
Verklempt.
Levity. You were a little choked up, and you also were just mouth agape staring at Chuck.
Yeah. It's like you never know who's going to show up at a funeral. You really
It's
don't.
true. It's true. It's also like or a wedding. Like, did you invite? I didn't.
Yeah.
Who sent the invitation?
How'd he get here?
Yeah.
So did the pandemic give you guys the no more weddings maneuver? Because I am certainly there.
Can we still use that?
Yes.
Oh no, I use RSV now.
Oh, nice.
That's my new.
So you RSVP with RSV?
RSV, yeah.
RSVP no with RSV.
Yeah. RSVP, RSV.
Yeah, no, for the longest time it was the out. It's like, oh, we have the kids. We're not taking them into social gatherings anymore.
Right.
And I've given that up. Although I still wear a mask to the middle school I work at, and they think I'm very strange. But like, I think the mask to a middle school was a good idea in a pre-COVID world. I just didn't know any better.
Right.
Yeah. How quick my perception of someone in a mask has gone from noble warrior to, is that guy okay? He needs to probably, it didn't take long. You know, at one point it was like, oh, he's one of us. Now he probably should see somebody about that. That's where I'm at with masks today. But go ahead, mask up, bro. I'm with you.
Well, also the mask, it's like the Larry, did they not do this on a Curb Your Enthusiasm yet? The mask is just put the mask on. No one will talk to you. So you can go in. So you can go into public. It's like when he wore the MAGA hat on. I think they did. Definitely was a Curb Your Enthusiasm. So I assume this upcoming final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm will have the same joke.
There is still Curb Your Enthusiasm.
This is now one more final season for real. This is it this time.
So are we now in the Better Call Saul type nightmare where the second show is now longer than the original? Like, this has to be more seasons than Seinfeld.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they're in like 12 or 13 or something, right? Aren't they?
How many seasons of Better Call Saul were there? 17?
18? I had one. I watched Better Call Saul, completionist.
Wow.
I didn't even like the first like 4 seasons. We even talked about it on the show. But like I finished it, but like one of the biggest, I guess, reveals, twists was ruined for me because I was like uploading a Fastbreak Breakfast or Grits and Grinds episode to YouTube, and it was like an explainer of the big spoiler.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, that was, I guess, the one impact thing I've been waiting 7 years for.
Remember that time Burr scolded me for reading a Wikipedia summary of Game of Thrones season 5.
We still can't spoil that.
And then he told he told me Hodor dies. Hodor dies.
Yeah.
He screamed it in my face. Like,
well, John, I can't remember what the movie was, but you were like, you like spoiled the Phantom Thread like before it opened in Nashville.
Ways films in.
hadn't even opened in Nashville yet.
They are leading you to water.
Oh, anyways, boys, we start these shows with breakfasts. We have a lot of NBA to talk about. John, we haven't podcasted since the end of December. Chuck, we haven't podcasted since last January. But before we get into the basketball, we start with breakfasts, of course. Chuck, what's the best breakfast you had in the last 12 months? And or what'd you have this morning? Either one.
It was the humble pie I ate coming back to the show and saying and owning my part of our split. And it was unnecessary, and it wasn't something that made me feel good. And it ate at me and gnawed at my soul bit by bit until I talked to my sponsor and he told me, maybe you should let this shit go, bro. And
well, all right. Welcome back to the fold, Chuck. Virtual hug right now.
This show brought to you by Narcotics Anonymous.
I can't hug you. I'm giving you little flames in our video chat. Is that flames or snowflakes are my 2 options? I don't know.
That's what's up.
Ice him.
Oh, there actually is a little. I didn't even know there was Zoom confetti. Good job.
I was just going to talk about my gauze, but now that seems awfully.
No, what the only way to do it is just to cram these things side by side, serious and not serious.
Chuck, you're not familiar with the concept of a 3-Dog Night, but Keith, as a truly white person, you remember the band 3-Dog Night, the genesis of which the name comes from. If it's too cold, you bring an extra dog into the tent if you're on the Iditarod or such nonsense. Well, this morning was a 3-donut morning.
Oh, John, what for?
To feel warmth and for this and it's celebratory.
Just to literally get warm, or
celebratory nature of this program. I decided one extra donut never hurt nobody. Although I think it is hurting my body.
Yeah,
I feel
you can't tell. You look like $1 million.
I took a Mucinex on top of 3 donuts, and that I think when they say take with food, I don't think they mean 3 donuts.
No,
because I'm having kind of a I'm going to compare it to DMT experience here, and I hope that I don't just pee my pants.
You know how
blood sugar drop with a dextromorphan.
Yeah,
you're
funny.
You're seeing Coco Pelli.
It's like how the Joey Devine breakfast is the Marlboro and Red Bull. The John Burr breakfast is the 3-donut Mucinex.
Till you see Joey Devine in person and see what a tiny frail person he is, it really doesn't. You're like, wow, man, don't do that. Don't do that.
My breakfast was a very sad leftover bit of cheese pizza. I mean, that is, I think some people have pets, maybe 3-dog night to just eat the leftovers from the night before they don't really want to eat. And that's my role in the household. It's like, this is leftover food. You can throw it away or eat it. I guess I'll just eat it.
Are you guys half pizza eaters? Do you eat half the pizza?
What do you mean by that? In what setting?
Pizza, do you eat half the pizza?
It depends on where you're getting it from.
Jets, I get a fork like a 4-corner for me.
I ate 3 to 4 corners of a 4-corner.
Jets are meaty and huge.
And cheese bread too. Their cheese bread's so good.
Well, like a Little Caesars, that's a personal pan. The $5 Little Caesars, that's nothing there. You just eat it all, right?
Yeah, easy.
You eat a whole hot and ready, or are we talking about something else?
Yeah, whole hot and ready. It sounded dirty when you said it, but I liked it.
So I have this thing.
Because he said whole hot.
You eat a whole hot and ready. That's right, I do. I drink it up.
I have a thing where I guess it's like it doesn't matter the size of the pizza. It's like some politeness thing where I eat half.
It's how you use it. What do you?
I don't know. I was wondering if this was something that other people do.
I'm trying to think of the place. Maybe it's like there's a place near us, the Mafiosos. It's pretty thin crust. And that's one where I'm like, I can't stop eating this. Not that it's delicious. I don't feel sated. And so I just I keep pounding these pieces where I'm like, have they whipped in a lot of air with the dough? So it's not even that filling. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like Gatorade. They add the sodium to make you more thirsty when you drink it.
MSG.
That's the called Sir Pizza syndrome.
Shout out Sir Pizza.
Shout out Sir Pizza.
All right. So those were our breakfast. After our breakfast, of course, we move into our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. I hope these are not serious because I can't jam my apology next to a serious apology. So does anyone have a basketball related apology for anything that they might have gotten wrong on a previous episode? John, how about we start with you?
I do. In my race to curse Marcus Smart, I somehow not only lost Ja Morant, but also turned Marcus Smart's hand into a literal monkey's paw. Did you see that nightmarish finger injury that seemed to happen while he was making a 3-point shot? But I guess it happened on the previous play. But just it's awful.
I don't know. You definitely cursed him somehow. He definitely is like the end of some super violent movie where the main character just keeps getting more and more just physically torn to pieces because he has this visible splinter in his left hand from diving on the court against the Pelicans, and now he raised 3 fingers
and one of them was pointing at the ground.
Yeah, and one of the 3 fingers that weren't raised just jumped out of socket, and now he's out for 6 weeks. It certainly feels like a supernatural curse, not a normal basketball injury.
It was nightmarish. As much as I have a distaste for his game, I didn't want to see a Final Destination injury.
So
it was outrageous. I mean, it was one of those things. The only injury I can remember freaking me and my child out this badly was. Do you remember when Tua got traumatic brain injury? But
that was unpleasant.
But it made his hands go insane. It was, and all the commentators did he break his fingers? And
he seized up. And we learned whatever that term was 2 years ago. Right? I don't remember it anymore.
The dead zone or something. Yeah.
I mean, so I appreciate you outwardly saying you're upset about this grotesque injury and whatever role you might have played. Universe.
But am I glad I don't have to watch him? Absolutely, that is true.
But I got to say the behind the scenes.
Vince Willie.
When Ja Morant was announced out for the season, so John, last episode we were just fired up. Ja's back and the Grizzlies are good again.
Yeah. Oh God.
When Ja was out for the season, John, you're like, "Hey man, I'm out. I'm not gonna watch the Grizzlies anymore. I don't think I'm watching the NBA anymore.
I meant it for a little while.
Yeah, you're like, I just can't watch. I can't watch Marcus Smart run my team in this this shadow broken shell of a team that I thought I was getting this year. I can't handle it.
Is there a better off ramp to a blissful freedom from the addiction of constant NBA viewing than favorite
Winning
player?
A podcast.
Yeah, favorite player gets suspended for 25 games for no good reason. Sticking to it.
Very good reason, yeah.
second, your least favorite player comes to town. Favorite player dies and is swaps bodies essentially with least favorite player. I mean, I should be able to stop, but did I miss the next 2 games? Did I secretly watch them in the dark? Yes.
Yes. So after you said you were basically quitting, Marcus Smart scored 20 points or more in 3 straight games for the first time in his entire career.
He wanted me back.
Yeah, so he wanted you back. The Grizzlies won all these games. They won 3 straight. Now Marcus Smart's hurt, and John, you're like, I'm back in. Let's
Vince
Williams Jr., the savior.
Although
that we need, yeah, what is it?
And this was a candidate for my Cream Week Worst of Week.
Yep.
Bismack Biyombo, no more shooting damn trees.
Yeah, Bismack's gone. Why did the Grizzlies give Bismack Biyombo all this money? They, if you don't know, they waited until they would guarantee his salary, which as a organization helps them in no way. They're just like, Bismack, you're cool. We're going to give you the full $5 million. Everyone's like, oh, they take care of their players. Does that matter at all in the NBA landscape?
It is when your team is in Memphis.
Maybe. They're like, oh,
maybe. Like,
those people took care of Chandler Parsons. I might go play there one day.
It's not a huge market. You got to do whatever you can to butter the rails. I get it. There you go. I get it.
I mean, is this a thing where they said like, hey, Bismack, we're going to guarantee your contract, but hey, secretly under the table, you can't join any other team. Like, you can't go help rebound for the Lakers. You know, like I don't, or like, hey, just don't take anybody else's call. Like, that's not legal.
I loved Bismack more than most, but I would gleefully give him to
you just give other teams. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, this is like,
I'd love to see Bismack in the playoffs.
This is what the Cavaliers should have done. Hey, Kevin Love, we're going to waive you as long as you don't go join the Heat.
Maybe we were trying to like gaslight a team into thinking he was like a Hassan Whiteside type or something.
Yeah.
He was worthy of money.
Chuck, what's your, you got an apology? Is it basketball? Yeah. What is it?
So it's podcast related. You know, when I decided to be a large child and pick up my microphone and leave the show, I left a lot of people in the lurch. You know, we have a wonderful community of listeners who have been with us and rode with us from the beginning. And I want to directly apologize to them because not only did I leave the show, I picked up I deleted Slack from my phone and decided I'm no longer going to be.
That's the good stuff, Chuck.
That was the good stuff. And I honestly miss some of the people. And you know, some folks have reached out through social media. I don't have Twitter anymore. It exists, but I lost the password. I don't know how to log in, which has been the greatest thing that has ever happened to me.
Yeah,
it's called X now, Chuck.
We can all just drain.
X?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the people that are on the Slack, if you ever paid and made me smile, you know who you are. The people who have texted me, the people who have sent me messages on Instagram, which is the only place you can reach me. I love you all, and I'm sorry for being a dick.
Chuck's OnlyFans. You can find him on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you need another subscription, you can find him
in the comments talking about milk bobs. like a rabid Indian man.
Chuck, the one, I mean, we obviously were worse off without having you, but I feel like
I know that.
Yeah, no, the quality just really in the toilet. But the one thing is, the last year, the Heat, I mean, made it again to the finals, and also you now have these you got all these super awesome guys. Yeah. Would you like to spend 2 straight minutes talking about the Heat making the finals or Jaime Jaquez?
I can't choose. That is a Sophie's choice because both were tremendous. Jaime Jaquez is the greatest thing that has ever happened to my fandom since LeBron coming to Miami.
Yeah,
and he's turned me into like I have hope for the future. But I didn't have this with Tyler and Bam. They were, well, Tyler was good at the beginning, but he looked stupid. So I didn't believe he was going to be good. And Bam kind of slow rolled his way into you know, a perennial kind of awesome player, you know. So Jaime coming out, leading the team in minutes as a rookie, playing multiple fourth quarters early in the season, just doing whatever it takes to kind of fit in around the stars and the guys who are already established. Man, it just gives me hope. And, you know, in my head, he's going to turn into, you know, Shane Battier on steroids, you know. But
he's already more muscular looking than Shane Battier.
He well, his forehead isn't nearly as protruding. So,
No.
but
Sharpay-ish.
yeah,
But maybe if he took that
Sharpay
giant wig off, we would see what his forehead actually looks like.
Yeah, but yeah, and then the finals run was, it just didn't make sense. I never thought we would even make it past 5 games in the first round.
Yeah.
And we made it all the way to the finals and was beaten by a robot basketball player who hates our franchise, who hates us in a way that was
he physically assaulted your players.
He was a guy who he ended the career of a person on our team, or at least ended the season. I'm not sure which Morris brother is back. See, one of the better things of having not to do a weekly podcast about the NBA, I didn't know who Vince Williams was. I had to just Google him right now. So thank you guys.
Vince Williams Jr. is the second coming of Tony Allen. He is
awesome.
He is D'Anthony Melton with 100% approval rating. He is.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, like he is the new life for John and I, but also everyone else. No one has a bad word to say about him yet.
I love it.
So it's been wonderful.
So he also kind of looks like Chris Partnow from The Wire, like in the hair a little bit.
Yeah, kind of does.
Horrifying.
He's been awesome. That was good.
Not only I'll close it out because I've got the future is white in Miami. You know, we got
you guys
Jovic.
You basically go all white at times.
You know, like we can start like
you got Jovic and Duncan Robinson,
Tyler,
who's
Duncan,
back. Yeah,
you know, and it I don't know. It feels good for me.
Can we think of a name for Duncan Robinson's crossover move that he breaks dudes off with? Is it the Utah 2-star? I've only seen like 2 Heat games all year, and
I call it
broken dudes off in both.
I call it the Cracker Barrel roll.
I love it. I like how Duncan Robinson. It was like this long,
the 100% Euro step.
It was this long buildup for this guy put in like 6 years in the NBA. Like he invested so much on one single move. He did 6 years of the NBA or however many years he's played without ever driving towards the basket. So this year he could do it. And people are like, what's going on? It's great craft, great discipline of having that many years of just patience for this payoff.
Chuck has sent me countless Miami Heat texts in his time away. I would say the ones that count are all about Jamie Jaquez.
Yeah.
And Josh Giddey jokes we can't ever say on air.
Correct. My apology. Well, I got a couple. One, I said on the show that I wanted Ja Morant to do a gun celebration after a big play just to see what happened. I don't even know if he
sure did see what happened.
I don't even know if he actually did, because John, you sent me the video and I didn't even know it was a guy. I didn't even know what you're like, hey man, here it is. And I was like, I don't get it. But then all the outkick is all like, oh, look at this.
Well, if Chuck had been paying attention, he could tell us that it is actually some sort of New Orleans centric finger dance. But I don't know.
Was the gun supposed to be a bazooka? Conspiracy. I didn't even know which part was supposed to be the gun or the weapon. That's where I was like, all I was hoping for was like a 6-shooter, like a little pew, 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 pew. And then, you blow the fingertips as like you're blowing the smoke off the barrel. He did something else. People got up in arms. And
I think it was a stripper gun. The gun that shoots the money at the strippers.
The dollars.
Or I thought he was doing the Steve Ballmer hot dog cannon.
Oh, love it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I like to call it.
How anyone can say anything bad about Steve Ballmer when he has that hot dog cannon? And when
what about Steve Ballmer building maybe the best team in the NBA?
Fought James Harden at the absolute lowest he possibly could. Well, I could have apologized to James Harden. Good grief.
James Harden's incredible. I got one more apology.
Although when he doesn't make the All-Star team, he will fall into a kerfluffle.
Another.
Also, wait until the playoffs, guys. Do you guys remember who this man is?
Kawhi's gonna get hurt in the first round, and then
James Harden's
going to disappear.
How to play basketball? That is just what happens in April or whenever the playoffs start. When do they start?
No way to know. Yeah, April.
The tournament. Are you talking about the tournament?
One of my favorite recurring things that I do on the show is after Summer League every year, I normally submit whoever's on the show, be it John or Chuck or John and Chuck or other people, to a little game of scones that was like Summer League player or Dashiell Hammett character or Summer League player or fictional character from the John Grisham universe or whatever. Like it was always this playful thing looking at fun summer league names of guys. We don't really know who they are, but man, that sounds like a made up name. Well, one of the guys who I used multiple years was Chance Comanche. I'm like, that's a fun name.
Wow.
What a
More
delightful name. Chance Comanche. I like making jokes about his name. Well, guys,
Joke's on you.
Chance Comanche and his girlfriend kidnapped a lady and killed her. And he was arrested at the Stockton Kings facility at a G League practice.
I gotta say, the NBA has moved into a solid third place of sport where players least or most likely to do something horrendous, right behind UFC and NFL. And considering there aren't that many traumatic brain injuries in the NBA, I'd say kudos to you.
Kudos to you. Yeah. So whatever, like when you're doing your Fast Break Breakfast re-listens and you're going back to previous summers to hear some of those good episodes, I apologize. This is going to be like those that Mark Jackson card with the Menendez brothers in the front row. That's me and all my Chance Comanche jokes over the past few years. Killed a friend of a friend in Las Vegas. Yikes.
What happens in Vegas?
Can be extradited apparently to Sacramento. Those are our apologies.
Gotta dig the hole first, Chance.
Yeah, that is literally that's like a Nate Bargatze joke. Hey, no joke. This is from the article. The body was thrown in a ditch and covered with rocks. You gotta dig a grave. And I believe the Nate Bargatze joke is, you know how hard it is to dig a hole? If you kill somebody, you know the term shallow grave? You're digging the most important hole of your life. And you're like, man, this is too hard. I'm going to stop. I'm going to throw it in a ditch, put some rocks over. I
remember like burying beloved pets. And it was just like a small layer of dirt and some discarded.
Yeah. There was some cat that just chose my yard to die in.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm going to bury this. And I was like, whoo, this is hard.
You just put a tarp over it.
Yeah, that's good enough. I mean, this is circle of life.
You just start vacuuming over it or mowing your lawn repeatedly.
Yeah. Anyways, those were our breakfasts. Before we move to our breakfast in bed apologies, just everybody be nice to each other. Treat yourselves right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last couple of weeks? Chuck, what's your steak and eggs best thing?
I mean, we already spilled it.
Spill it by doing the heat. You want to do more heat stuff?
It's all heat. All I can talk about is the heat these days. I have no I would once in a while, I would pretty regularly graze at NBA Reddit or go on Twitter and listen to a podcast. I got
X.
No time
it's
for
called X now, Chuck.
We've never called it on the show X. Canonically, still Twitter. X is something else. X is what you take at the Roni Cycling DJ party.
Yeah, Earl Simmons is X and not Twitter. So when I watch basketball, the best thing is that I love basketball again because I only have to watch my team. There is a lot of work that goes into a podcast that you do every week talking about one subject for John and Keith. But for me, it was really like studying at the last minute for a test that I didn't really want to take. And it became really hard for me to actually drum up the interest in the things that I didn't play fantasy basketball for almost the entire time.
And now he does.
That could be your best thing. You found the joy of fantasy.
Oh, this is my last year. I hate it.
I'm so bad.
Going to do it. It is so bad. John put me in an 18-team league. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
we have our Patreon only leagues, and I assigned John like 11 people or 12 people, and he's like, "Hey man, our league's 18." I'm like, "Who's playing? Like, where do these people come from?" Like, well, Chuck's playing. What? And then
boys, Texas Mista, Leo.
So what has been great is
refugee league.
It is all sorts of people who have been exiled,
the outcasts.
And I never told you guys this because I was, as part of my obligations to the show, I was given a fantasy league for multiple years.
Yeah, you were assigned a league to do. Yeah.
In the spirit of amends and coming clean, I want to say
I know this.
I know this too. Everyone knows this.
I let Texie run my fantasy league, and he won every year.
He's very good.
I should have done it with another fantasy league that I'm in this year. because he loves it. He really does. And
the only reason he isn't winning our league this year, Chuck, is so in oh man, in ESPN, if you open and shut the auction room when somebody is trying to do their auction, you can basically sabotage their auction. And I sabotaged Texas missed his team. He got stuck with Wimby.
It's so good.
With Wimby
this is also deep cut inside baseball. In our listener league for one listeners. This is for the real fans.
For the real ones. We're doing this show for the real ones. If you
just
have
listen, 2 cuts.
Yeah. If this is your first Fast Break Breakfast, sorry, bro. You're on your own.
Yeah.
Go
listen to those Chance Comanche episodes. They're pretty funny. Yeah. John, what's your best thing?
Sometimes NBA Twitter turns into Black Twitter, and it is incredible. Chuck, did you see the Cat Williams stuff?
Yes.
Keith, I know you didn't see the Cat Williams stuff.
I saw the Grizzlies account tweeting about it, and I was like, I don't know what they're talking about.
Well, that's why I'm glad Chuck's back, because Chuck, I realized that the Warriors are the kings of comedy. And that Draymond is Steve Harvey, right down to his Family Feud ass podcast. Cedric the Entertainer is Klay Thompson, a thinly veiled copycat version of Bernie Mac, which is Steph Curry, obviously. Indefatigable, undefeated. D.L. Hughley, that's Steve Kerr. Why is he talking? Why is he here? Why do I have to see him so much? And then it makes Cat Williams, Damian Lillard, coming out of the shadows once and for all, saying, this could have been me. I could have been this. I'm the real 3-point GOAT. Come on now. But it's been really fun. That seeing all the mimetic material, and it just came to me. The Warriors are the kings of comedy. Oh, they had their time, and that time has now blissfully gone. And this is their comeuppance right now. This year,
was there a comeuppance for the kings of comedy?
No, I mean they're
outside of
the
Bernie
Cat Williams,
passing?
the Cat Williams thing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but that's like, whatever. Cat Williams was, to me, the funniest person alive for about 5 years.
Well, now he truly is. What did he say at one point? Between the ages of 8 and 10, I read 3,000 books a year. So good. I run a 4.140. And then he posts a video of himself.
40 was so good.
Posts himself running a 40-yard dash on a basketball court, which is 30. And
that basketball court was in Memphis.
Oh, really? Man,
yeah,
he's just a legend.
It was literally in Memphis.
Speaking and then just getting to watch all the videos of the quote unquote receipts, and like, man, it's just
Speaking of Damian Lillard, Chuck,
would
the Bucks be better if they had Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, and Jaime Jaquez? If they had the trade package, would the Bucks be? The Bucks are pretty good, but
I'm glad we dodged that Damian Lillard bullet. Really, it's really something that we would.
We don't make gun references since Ja's thing. Sorry, Chuck. You missed that note.
He's still Dame Time and teams.
Okay, he's still Dame Time. They're good. I can't.
They beat the Celtics by like 60 points.
TNT had to turn off the game.
Yeah,
and then TNT realized, wait a minute, this is blacked out on League Pass. No one can watch it if we don't show it. We got to go back to it.
We got onto the Bucks.
Yeah,
about their defense. That was because they were the first one. They're trailblazers. Well, they're not trailblazers. They're former trailblazers who realize that's just what we do now. If you start losing, throw in the towel. Lose by 60. Get a minus 56 plus minus rating. No one cares anymore.
It's true.
It's true.
My best thing in the few weeks since we released an episode since then, maybe one of the main characters of the Fast Break Breakfast universe just kicked it into maybe a new level. Talk about Nikola Jokic, who, reigning Finals MVP, 2-time MVP winner,
best player alive.
He beat the Grizzlies without missing a shot. He was 11 for 11 from the field, made his 3 free throws, like had a perfect triple double. He ran together this week where like he was making 93% of his shots. How is that possible? He had a 3-game split where his shooting splits were 93, 100, 100.
He got irritated with Shaq in the post-game interview too. That was funny.
And then, so
like me, Shaq refuses to learn other cultures or languages, and Jokic is annoyed by it.
he hits this 40-foot buzzer beater to beat the Warriors. That game, he was 13 out of 15 on field goal attempts, including a 40-footer. Where they went, like they finished the game with like a 25-6 run or something. I think the only thing Jokic hates worse than like having to play lots of basketball games is Steve Kerr. He did it just to kill Steve Kerr. Jokic might hate Steve Kerr more than we hate Steve Kerr.
Yes, good Lord.
Steve Kerr's just like
Warner ass.
His scolding of Jokic for drawing a foul. It was just like, who are you, Steve Kerr, with your Draymond enabling?
Steve Kerr really does seem like he has lost the plot a little bit.
I mean, this is his last year. There's no way he's coming back. I mean, he's on final year of his contract. He's, whatever.
Who slid the most in your estimation as far as likability, Steve Kerr or Klay Thompson?
Me or Chuck?
I don't care what Chuck thinks.
For me, I've said I used to love Klay Thompson and respected Steve Kerr. Now I'm like, I don't like Klay at all. And also Steve Kerr, it just annoys me to no end. He's like a guy I actively cheer against now. I cheered for when the Grizzlies lost to the Warriors, I cheered for the Warriors after that. I wanted them to win the title. The following years, I was cheering for them usually. I thought
for the Lakers that's next year for sure.
I never
over the Warriors.
Yeah.
Didn't feel good.
Speaking of Jokic, so he's on this historic run, and then he plays the Pistons, and he's like, you guys aren't even worth me raising my arms to shoot the basketball. I think he shot 3 times in that game. He had 16 assists and 5 blocks. He knew I was punting points in fantasy that week. It was amazing. But Jokic is, I want to know, like, what does it take for Jokic to be the best player of all time? This is my ESPN topic. Why isn't Jokic the best player of all time?
He only has a single title.
Just single titles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think NBA legacies are mostly built around titles, so he has a long way to go, I would say.
I have a controversial take.
Okay.
It's because he's not from America.
I don't know if that matters to.
I think it does.
Maybe it does.
It is hard to be a European, a white male these days, Chuck.
It's super hard being a cis white hetero male in America. Yeah. But I think the people who talk about the sport on TV, may not see him as real, right? May see him as highly talented and wonderful, but he ain't got that dog in him. Even though he is literally the dog. He is the biggest dog on the block and eats everybody's lunch every day. And I saw it. I saw him break my heart.
I bet there will be hipster GOAT debates 10 years from now. Like,
all the whatever Bucks plus minus, and then all like the Darko and like the newest ones.
Like that stuff's going to be pretty unusable.
we're already done with that one. But all the advanced stats are like, Jokic's last few years, unrivaled in NBA history. No one's ever done anything this good. And even last year, maybe my one good take from the season was in the middle of it. We were in these MVP debates. I'm like, Jokic is averaging a triple-double and shooting 63% on his field goal attempts. No one's ever done anything close to that. Why isn't this the most historic season of all time? And
I think it's because like now,
spoiled, I feel like.
People, the triple-double doesn't mean what it used to. Yep. The stats are through the roof. I think when we look back at this era, it's going to be like the year they like raised or lowered the mound in the major leagues.
Juice
like
ball era.
Yeah. I think a lot of this stuff is not going to be thrown out, but it's going to be easily asterisked away. But I mean, if he gets 2 or 3 more titles, I think is in there.
I think another thing that kind of tints his greatest of all time thing is like the fundamental attribution error of him being a 2nd-round pick and people having to discover him 3 seasons into his career. Right? Keith was
zero hype. Yeah.
Keith was on it day one. Keith saw him probably at Summer League. I don't know. And like there was a build up to, wow, this Jokic guy. He didn't have the hype of LeBron. He didn't have the hype of Jordan year 1. He didn't have the hype of Kareem, who had the all-time great college career. All of these things I think matter. The hype, the length of hype matters in the GOAT debate. And his hype length hasn't been since day one. And I think
hype length, got it.
Hype length. Hyperlink.
I love this. This is something I've never considered before. Like all the other,
for real.
Yeah, all the other basic top 10 players, I think they're day one. You don't even remember them being not that good. Depending on your views on Kobe, if he's top 10 all time or not.
Mhm.
Kobe was only one where like it took him a couple years to develop. Right. And now we have guys like Giannis, took him a few years to develop. And Jokic, again, took him a few years. Where like your others were like, we weren't alive, but like Wilt was a thing. The moment anyone heard of him, it was, oh my God, you have to check this out. And then for his entire career, it was, oh my God. And Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and, LeBron and whoever else.
Kareem was sitting with like Jim Brown and Bill Russell at tables when he was in high school, right? Like
they banned the dunk,
right? Like
because of Kareem. They're like,
hype matters, and it isn't about really production. It's about perception. And he hasn't been perceived as the best since the day he started. And that factors in, I think.
That's a good point. Anyways, Jokic is amazing. That's my best thing.
That's it.
Opposite of our steak and eggs best thing is our cream of wheat worst thing. What's the worst thing you guys saw? Chuck, what's your worst thing?
So we did this show for how long? I did it for 9 seasons.
9 seasons, yeah.
9 seasons. This show
That's Larry Bird's career.
This season, right? But really, what it is that this show and my time on it still isn't going to surpass LeBron James's time in the NBA. This show started because I hated LeBron, right? I was, if you were here from the beginning, the first bit we ever did, the first segment we ever had was Text from a Scorned Heat fan, where I told John,
which I still live it every day.
Right. And basically that son of a bitch is still dunking on Paul George in transition at 39 years old.
Well, how do you think Paul George feels about it? He's like,
tune into his podcast to find out.
I lost to this guy 10 years ago in the playoffs. I'm going to outlast him. No, yeah, we started the show with the express purpose of just outlasting LeBron.
That was it.
And it's like, oh my God, he's going to keep going. I think it's amazing. Like it's amazing what LeBron is obviously doing at age 39, when what he should be doing is watching the greatest player of our time, Nikola Jokic, at home on TV.
If he was a real basketball head.
Yeah, if he was a real hoop head, he would retire and go watch the best player ever on TV. It's wild. We actually brought back text from a Scorned fan last episode, and almost no one knew what was happening. It was like, that's a throwback to 2016.
Yes, back before Trump became president and ruined everything.
Yeah, things got awkward. We didn't know how to leave our takes, our political beliefs. On the cutting room floor. John, what's your cream of wheat worst thing?
The only downside to watching NBA. Watching and listening to NBA player reactions to Cat Williams exposing the Black Illuminati is I can't fix my YouTube algorithm now. My YouTube algorithm knows I like basketball, but now it thinks I like basketball and podcasts. So instead of being fed a steady diet of Sean Kemp dunk highlights and the same 16 Larry Bird highlight videos that all feature the exact same plays, yet somehow I've convinced myself I'm discovering something new every time I watch them, I now get Rasheed Wallace's podcast pumped straight into my brain, and I can't even figure out how to fix it, because I'll even I'll be like, all right, and these videos exist. It's like, here's 40 minutes of Steven Jackson highlights.
Yeah.
Someone did this. And I'll set it when I go to sleep, and then I still wake up and it's Gilbert Arenas talking about.
Well, this is because you did your player podcast exploration last episode.
Shouldn't have done it.
Can't you thumb down? Why don't you thumb down everything?
Thumb down.
Have you not thumbed down?
I've never thumbed down in my life.
Thumb down.
Non-voter. Lifelong non-voter.
Lifelong registered non-voter. Have you been voting for your all-star teams? I think it's funny.
I'm not going to vote for LeBron. I'm pretty pumped about that.
I think it's funny when fans are like, oh man, Şengün is not in the top whatever of these front court players.
You doing Şengün or Chet? You doing Şengün or Chet? You can only pick one.
Chet's the better player.
The
better player on the better team.
He looks so good against the Heat. He looks so good against the Heat.
But like people are like, oh, I can't believe the Rockets aren't doing a better campaign to push Şengün. Like, if your guy isn't going to win, which we're talking about Desmond Bain, we're talking about Şengün. Like, if your guy's not going to win, it doesn't matter if you finish 5th or 6th. Like, the coaches are going to pick the reserves. So basically, it's like me voting.
I know you say that, Keith, but it probably does.
I don't think it does, because literally you're voting for the starters. You're voting for the starters, and then, I mean, maybe it'll matter when Adam Silver's picking his replacement, because we get like 5 replacements every year. But like the voting, it's like me voting for someone who isn't strongly in favor of school shootings in Tennessee. Like it's useless.
Good luck,
because we're outnumbered. And so, yeah, I can't get worked up like, hey, how come the Rockets haven't done a bigger Şengün campaign for All-Star? It's like, we're not going to win.
You can, you have, and you will get worked up about something like this.
Okay. It's true. Well, I'm a professional. You guys want to hear about the latest medical bill I got? No.
Dude, I keep paying medical bills, and then they just send me the same bill and be like, you didn't pay it, we're sending you your creditors.
I took my kids to their well child checkups. We have insurance.
Right.
And they sent me a $400 bill, and the itemized thing was $1,400, and insurance paid $1,000. And I was like, why is this $400? And I called the billing thing, and we got onto it. I mean, he's like, the guy was like, well, you got to call the company. I'm like, well, this is the number. It says if you have questions about unexplained charges, call this number. I'm calling you. And I asked him, like, what does this mean?
They did not patch your children's
They did not patch
tire.
my tire. Where are we at? Worst things. My worst thing. The NBA is apparently going to make the NBA draft 2 days long. I am in the top percentile of people who care about NBA draft night. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I like it more than, I don't know,
Fancy
Christmas. I like it more. Like, it's my favorite day. It's like my favorite day. And
season 14 of Better Call Saul, or watching and snuggling up with an NBA draft.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA draft is like my favorite day.
Okay.
And that being said, already, second round's pretty boring. Like, it's boring. And it's boring because basically they have, like, the only reason that it's not incredibly boring is everyone is forced to do quick decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're like, hey, man, you got 3 minutes. Are you going to trade the rights to Kennedy Chandler, for what? Like, you have 3 minutes to make these decisions. And otherwise, I know you guys have never listened to a Dunked On mock off season, but like, these guys, the Dunked On mock off season is pretty great, but you got to listen to it on Fast Forward. They'll spend like 9 minutes.
Do they role play it?
They role play it, and they will spend 9 minutes debating the pick protection on like a 2029 pick. And it's just like, you've spent 9 minutes on this fake game. And I know you like, I love role playing and having fun too. Okay.
I'll bet you do.
No, I do.
Chuck's got a sex swing behind him.
I got a hot dog cannon just for that thing. But like, these GMs need that time crunch to make it happen. Maybe they're thinking if we spread it out on day 2, maybe there'll be all kinds of deals made. But the idea of spreading this out over 2 days, which I will cover, I will be on playback for all of them. But like, this is not a thing we need 2 days of. I don't think. It seems like a horrible idea.
I mean, the greatest player of all time was drafted in the second round.
It's true.
And on the TV when he was drafted was a Taco Bell quesarito commercial.
Classic.
So let's not forget they needed to cut to a commercial during one, and now they want to make it 2 days.
I mean, the draft is already basically ruined. I mean, if you deleted X and Slack off your phone, it's already ruined because like they're all.
I've been sober for 5 years.
The draft is already a pretty hard watch as it is. I've been told it's one of the most boring things imaginable to attend live. And so I don't know how
is the Jets guy at the draft booing everything? If the Jets guy,
the Knicks are just booing.
Oh, like, man,
booing Kevin Knox.
Team. So can you boo Is this boo worthy? I don't know what the cognoscenti thinks. Jalen Brunson, all-star starter for me this year.
I don't.
Yeah.
I haven't
Don't
even
care.
done my what's my breakdown? Who's he up against in the East on guards?
Basically, I think it's between him and Donovan Mitchell.
I mean, is
Like,
Jalen
Halliburton's
Brown
in,
a
right?
guard? He's not in. How Halliburton's
Jalen
broken.
Brown doesn't get in over Derek White and Porzingis, baby.
Oh,
No.
okay, that's fine. Halliburton's in.
Halliburton's in.
Yeah.
Is Brunson
Why not
over
both?
Halliburton? That's a good question.
No.
Halliburton got lucky with this injury. Apparently, he's supposed to be back for the home All-Star game
Nice.
in Indianapolis.
I need
Nice.
more numbnuts. AJ numbnuts.
What about Tyrese
point guard
Maxey?
pennants. I think Maxey and Brunson is a conversation, but I think the Brunson's like to me he's like
He's
a
probably up there.
superstar guy.
Yeah.
Like he is, and I think being on the Knicks helps a lot.
Well, what are the All-Star returns? Does it matter? I haven't even looked yet.
Oh, now that's stuff I never know. I assume Ja Morant's probably starting by that metric. Hopefully,
No,
That'll
Adam
be funny.
Silver is suppressing the vote.
Oh, interesting, man. Ja and Zion, such great heights. What happened?
I mean, Zion's back. It's just this pendulum. Zion's back right now. The Pelicans blow out every team they play. Eastern Conference guards.
I did love the
you're
NBA
gonna hate.
Twitter.
You're gonna. What are New York fans doing? Why haven't the Knicks launched a better PR campaign?
They were all behind RJ Barrett for some reason. And now
They're still voting for Jeremy Lin.
They were going Emmanuel quickly.
Yeah.
The early returns in the East. Do you want to? Can you name there's 5 players ahead of Jalen Brunson.
Game of Scones it.
Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage. Who are the 5 Eastern Conference guards to have more All-Star votes through the second round of returns than Jalen Brunson? There are 5 guards with more
You haven't
votes.
been on the show in a year. I'll let you go first.
What 5 guards that have more votes than Jalen Brunson?
Yeah, for the
East.
Eastern Conference All-Star starting
East.
spot. This is just
Okay.
the fan vote.
Trae Young.
Trae Young is second. That's correct. Good job, Chuck.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton is first. Good job, John.
Give me DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan is 10th. That's a strike for Chuck. We've said many of the names already.
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell is 4th. That is correct, John. There is 1 name remain. No, 2 names remaining.
Please, God, let Chuck come back for one show and finally lose a game of scones to me.
Yeah, Chuck walked away.
Damian Lillard?
Won 20 in a row.
Yes,
That is correct, Chuck. Damian Lillard. There was
I
now
think that-
1 name remaining.
I'm gonna lose. And we don't. Jalen Brown's not a guard, right?
I have no idea. I'll let you know that. No, Jalen Brown is not a guard because he is 5th in the front court vote.
Okay.
We've said Trae Young,
Jimmy
Tyrese
Butler.
Halliburton. Jimmy Butler is not. He's a front court player. He's 4th. I'm accomplished.
Ah!
Can I come in?
Forwards.
Can
Yeah,
I
Chuck.
come in?
Chuck.
Let's go to Philadelphia and the one and only Tyrese Maxey, baby.
Balls!
That's correct. Chuck once again has never. It's been years since he lost a game of scones. Yeah. So Halliburton, Trae Young, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey all have more All-Star votes right now than Jalen Brunson. It's that tiny market, that tiny New York market.
Itty bitty.
Yeah.
Got a campaign better. Dolan needs to get it together. Too busy huffing farts at the Sphere.
Anyways, those were our worst things. Before we get to the awards segment of the program, we have a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire.
Caleb McNeese asks, and this is a tattoo just for you, or a question just for you, Chuck, because it concerns tattoos. And Keith and I have none. Jason Tatum got a new life tattoo featuring characters he finds inspiring. He says life because it's like L-I-F-E, and within each letter, there are visions, illustrations, if you will, of these characters. Denzel Washington in the film John Q.
What?
It gets way crazier. Will Smith in the film Hitch, specifically an allergic reaction scene wherein Will Smith's face is bloated. Wesley Snipes in White Men Can't Jump. This somewhat makes sense. And then to cap it all off, Dash from The Incredibles.
So he has tattooed as like this is like sort of like a mood board or his inspiration
Vision,
or his vision. Yeah. So what was it? It was Denzel from John Q. One of my least favorite movies I've ever seen. Hitch. Will Smith is a swollen Hitch bee sting scene. Wesley Snipes, Why Men Can't Jump, and then The Incredibles baby.
Yeah, that's weird.
So what are yours, Chuck? What would be your four?
Unfortunately, if I was going to put people on my body, they would be real people. Not
that's not the spirit of it, but okay, fine.
But I mean, I guess, Seth Rogen and Knocked Up.
Great.
Because I just have gotten way too many women accidentally pregnant. It would be give me the pitcher in Moneyball. I mean the catcher in Moneyball, the like bumpkin who
Scott Hatteberg.
That's it. Him.
Is that not? I thought that was Seth Rogen too.
No.
Okay.
Give me
the catcher in Moneyball.
Give me Chris Pratt, but fat Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Okay. Mouse Rat Chris Pratt.
What happened to him?
Man.
By the way, my wife is so upset about him being turned into like a muscular leading man. She's like,
yeah.
I mean, he was such a joy.
Just a joy. Yeah. He was just a joyful, normal person.
Just a really fat guy that I liked being fat.
Yeah.
Now he goes to a super church with like Arnold's daughter or something crazy, and everyone hates him.
So then I'll close it out. De Niro from Goodfellas.
Oh, great.
Very good system. Very good system.
We couldn't do a show without a Goodfellas reference. Pacino from Scarface. And
I think you've run out of letters.
Chuck can't spell.
Chaz Palminteri from Bronx Tale.
That was like 7 letters. I love it.
Chaz Palminteri from Usual Suspect.
I mean, I did Lifestyle.
That's good. No, it's beautiful.
Okay.
John,
Keith,
who are you?
Yours? No,
you want me to go first?
Yeah, because I just got room for one, boys.
All right, let me think. I think I would do.
You have tattoos?
No.
Okay.
I think
Cannot sully the temple.
Yeah. I guess I'm definitely doing fictional characters. Give me maybe Deadwood Oliphant, Seth, Seth Bullock. Maybe give you that one, like that character. I think it's fun. I think give me Artie from Rip Torn.
Dude.
From Larry Sanders Show.
I thought it was Artie from The Sopranos, and I was about to go insane.
I was
Artie Lang from The Stern Show.
I'm gonna go Rip Torn, maybe from Larry Sanders Show. I'll probably have to take a weird Coen Brothers character. Give me
Emmett Walsh from Blood Simple.
Oh, that's a great one. I was the guy doing the running the elevator in Barton Fink. I think his name was Pete. They were like, you ever read? Barton Fink's
will show you the life of the mind.
No, he's like, you ever read the Bible, Pete? And Pete goes, Holy Bible? That line just kills me.
One of the most
fourth. Give me a fourth. Tony Allen for my fourth. What's John? You got to give us some names.
One of the saddest moments of my life was realizing that in mine and Chuck's world, that Chuck is Tony Soprano and I'm Artie Bucco. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, T? All 4 letters are, and you guys may not even know what this is, are the character of Doyle Hargraves as played by Dwight Yoakam in the film Sling Blade.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I haven't seen Sling Blade since the student theater at Florida State University. No.
There is not a character in fiction that I more ashamedly understand and identify with than the abusive Doyle Hargraves from Sling Blade.
Oh, and can I just say, speaking of fictional characters that I was uncomfortably similar to, I want to shout out our buddy Tyler Parker and his new novel, A Little Blood and Dancing. The main character is unbelievably like me, and that is a terrible thing. It is not a compliment like, oh, I see myself in this Brad Pitt character or in this amazing lawman,
I think
like this guy is a loser.
The assignment. because I'm the only one who said something that was actively terrible, which is what Jason Tatum did for all 4 letters.
But I think he did things he liked.
I mean, I could have been like Orson Welles and F for fake, or
I mean, give me
these are bad things.
Give me Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood.
I need to put Udonis Haslem on my leg. If I'm putting a human being, it's probably
you got to do a UD. Anyways, what's our next question, John?
Gasol covered in Chris Wallace's spaghetti and meatballs.
What's our next question?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
You'd think after 9 years I'd have this down. It is not as funny. Magnus asks, shout out the great Inquisitor Magnus. The Pistons need 7 victories in their remaining 45 games to avoid matching the 82-game season low of the 1973 Sixers. That can't be true. That was more recent, right?
No, that's correct. That's correct.
Okay, who went 9-73
in an 82-game season? That's the fewest. The Hornets did that, or the Bobcats did that 7-win. That's fewer than
Will they succeed?
When he says "will they succeed," what does he mean? Is it succeed in having the worst record, or succeed
to avoid matching?
To avoid infamy. Okay.
I've got this schedule pulled up.
I mean, I don't need to see a schedule. I know who the teams are in the NBA, and they got destroyed by the Spurs at home.
There are 4 teams that are so bad this year that I think if enough of those 4 teams are in that last, like if they have like 4 Wizard games, that's a big swing.
They've already lost at least one. I know. I remember one. Yeah, Chuck, what is it?
Just posit something. I think I love Monty Williams. I think he's a great leader of men. I think we'll see something at the end of the year, something will click. Like he's drilling them on like character traits that they're just not buying yet. And as soon as it's going to be like a movie, when they like figure out, you know what, when I really put in the effort, we will do better. And I don't believe the talent is the worst. I think they'll click and they'll win 11 games.
Oh, so you're being very optimistic. I thought you were going with a different tact. I thought you were saying we're going to get to the end of the year and there's going to be the most disgusting reveal, like the end of Old Boy. And we're going to be like, oh, that's what was wrong with the team. My God.
Monty Williams cuts out his tongue.
Yeah, I thought something horrible was going to happen. It's like they had an event horizon situation in the locker room.
God, Marvin Bagley sewed his eyes shut. Jesus Christ. Jesus wept. I know you guys made fun of me for looking at the schedule, but the schedule is absolutely murderous. Every team is good. Like I see the only bad team I've seen on here is like the Wizards once and the Bulls, and then it's every team is good. So no, I do not think they will succeed. I think we're looking at the worst team of all time.
The Miami Heat will lose to them this year.
Well, they play them 4 times. It looks like the rest of the year.
Will drop again. The Heat historically just like check out against really bad teams.
The Vancouver Grizzlies beat the with a 70-win Bulls team.
Yeah,
I am I've been perplexed by this. I've been wrong about this team all season. I thought they looked fine on paper. I thought Monty Williams would be the leader of men. They're so bad, and they get crushed by everyone. And
they don't even play the cool players anymore.
Monty Williams is lost, and he is just like, what if Killian Hayes just plays with James Wiseman a lot? You're like, you can't do that. Like, what if Isaiah Livers just starts and finishes games? It's like, why? And yeah, it's a mess.
Because
so you guys,
character, those guys are the ones who are putting in the work, and he's going to show these first-round draft picks, these Jalen Durns, these Asar Thompsons, that you got to put in the work.
Jalen Durn.
Sound like the Baron Davis.
How many amazing pronunciations did we miss out on Chuck being gone this year on some of these rookies?
Do you guys?
If you don't think Chuck would have struggled with Wembanyama as badly as I just did,
hey, you know who else? You know who else says Wembanyama? John Hollinger. I listened to John Hollinger. He said Wembanyama constantly.
Did you Justice Winslow Jaime Jaquez by calling him Jaime Jaquez?
He called him Jamie Jaquez, I think.
James Jackson.
James Jackson. All right. In NBA history, there have been 11 teams ever to finish the season with a winning percentage under 17. And right now we have 3.
Golden era.
This is think of the juiced ball era. We have 3 teams, Pistons, Wizards, Spurs, just worst we've ever seen, basically. You can throw in the Hornets, basically. We have 4 teams with a double-digit negative net rating. We're seeing something special. And that 11 teams in NBA history that have had a season-long winning percentage under 17%, that's including the 1948 Providence Steamrollers. You guys remember? You guys have any favorite Providence Steamrollers? Was it Pop Goodwin or Mel Thurston? Do you guys love Dick Fitzgerald? Hank Beenders?
I do love Dick Fitzgerald.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I think that the Pistons are. I am not optimistic. They're going to.
Dude, I'm telling you, go look at the schedule.
This is the worst thing imaginable. And now, like, Cade Cunningham's hurt for a little bit, and yeah,
I liked it better when you just said Cade Cunningham was terrible.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Cade Cunningham is good.
That's just like shoveling dirt on a long dead corpse. You're just like, you know what? You're bad, and your savior is bad.
Yeah. Good question. Thanks for the questions. If you guys want to submit your own questions, got to be a Patreon supporter. Do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. It's now time for the awards segment of the program, and I got to blow through a lot of awards since we haven't podcasted since December 21st. To wrap up the month of December, we're going to pick one. This is December 21st through 31st. We have 3 nominees. Jaden Hardy, in a loss to the Rockets, was 3 for 17. 8 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 5 personal fouls. Tyrese Maxey had a natural 4 for 20 on Christmas. 4 for 20, 12 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, no turnovers, 4 personal fouls. And then Paolo Banchero in a loss to the Sixers. He went 6 for 21, 19 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, no personal fouls, perhaps try. So among those guys, what do we think? It's basically between Hardy's 3 for 17 or Maxey's 4 for 20.
I'm legally obligated to vote for 4 for 20. It is in my contract.
If you got him, smoke him. John, what do you think? It is destiny. Congratulations.
Pass.
Tyrese Maxey winning an International Stackers of Pancakes Award for that 4 for 20 performance on Christmas. All right, now for the month of January so far. This is January 1st.
Oh, that happened on Christmas? I was just savoring that
green on green.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh my God, that was my Heat. Loving. It was wonderful. What a wonderfully awful performance.
For the month of January so far, this is January 1st through 11th, we have a few honorable mentions. Couldn't let them get by. Steph Curry, 2 for 14. Dame Lillard and Cade Cunningham both had a 3 for 16. Also, honorable mention to Jalen Brunson's 5 for 23. Normally, these performances would be good enough, but they were not. The Jalen Brunson 5 for 23, that's an extremely unique bad shooting performance. It's the only 5.
Very all-star-ish.
It's the only 5 for 23 of the year. We didn't have one in the entire season last year. This is exactly 5 makes exactly 23 attempts. Last time it happened was in January of 2022. Devin Booker and Tyler Hero both did it that month. 2 of my favorite players. Here's another quick game of scones, guys. Who's the only player in the 3-point era to have more than one game where he shot exactly 5 for 23 from the field?
I'm not participating in this arbitrary nonsense.
Gilbert
5 for 23.
Gilbert Arenas is a good guess, but no.
Joe Fuchs.
Joe Fuchs, 3-point era, John. 3-point era. 79 and later.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe! Got it.
Oh!
Well done, John. In Chuck's face, John won a game of scones. All right.
Way to go.
Our 3 nominees for the past 11 days. We have Cam Thomas in a loss to the Pelicans. 0 for 11. 0 points. 0 assists. Full donut. Had 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 turnover, no personal fouls, perhaps try. We had, I'm sorry. I should have included Jalen Brunson right here. Let's include Jalen Brunson. 5 for 23, 16 points. He had 14 assists, though, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. And then Scoot Henderson in a 60, what did they lose by? 62? They lost by 62 something, 60 something points on Thursday night. Scoot Henderson in this loss to Oklahoma City was 4 for 21, 13 points, 2 assists, 6 boards, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, 3 personal fouls, and a plus
Say it.
minus 56.
Yeah, boy.
That is the second worst plus minus ever recorded, behind Manny Harris's minus 57 in 2011. It's tied with Jeremiah
Manny
Robinson
Harris?
Earl's minus 56. He posted against the Grizzlies in the 73-point Grizzlies win.
The
Also,
assassin Jeremiah Robinson.
this is how I know I haven't been totally sharp on my game this year. Miles Bridges had a minus 56 game this season. I didn't even know about it.
Oh,
So
wow.
here's what we're picking between. We're picking between Jalen Brunson's 5 for 23, but he got 14 assists. Basically, this is Cam Thomas, 0 for 11, 0.0 assists, and Scoot Henderson, 4 for 21, 13 points, 6 boards, minus 56. I think this is pretty close. What do y'all think?
I'm doing the minus 56.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Scoot.
All right.
Scoot it up.
I'm gonna throw my vote to Cam Thomas, but by a 2-1 vote. Congratulations,
Threw your vote away.
Scoot Henderson.
Morality.
It's like voting all these local elections. By that margin of victory, Scoot Henderson, congratulations. By the way, Cam Thomas, this is a stat from the social media account NBA Crazy Stats. Cam Thomas followed up that 0 for 11 with an 0 for 7, meaning he went 0 for 18 in 2 consecutive games. That's tied for the most missed field goal attempts without a make in consecutive games since the ABA NBA merger. And finally, just for fun, here are the worst shooting performances over the 9.5-year run of Fastbreak Breakfast. We got to witness 7 0 for 12s. We had PJ Washington, Gary Harris, Josh Jackson, and Stanley Johnson give us some 0 for 13s. Those are our biggest offers of the last 9 years. I would say our 3 best are Jason Tatum in 2019 went 1 for 18. Robert Covington also matched him with a 1 for 18 in 2018. And Michael Carter Williams, just a couple of months into our first season, gave us a 2 for 20. So
we didn't know what we had at the time.
We didn't know what we had. Incredible stuff. Thank you for all your missed shots, everyone. And now, kudos to me. This is our segment where we compliment ourselves in the spirit of Dylan Brooks, who got 5 assists in a basketball game and said, kudos to me.
Single-handedly turned the Rockets around. Don't pay any attention to Alperen Şengün.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to Dylan.
Kudos to me is we did a basketball podcast for 9.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was very, very good. And John, this is your final show as your season of life has changed. And I don't want to speak any more for you.
I've had a great time doing the show. I still have a great time doing the show. But for me, if I can't actually follow the NBA the way I want to, and I'll just put it into perspective. I have watched most Atlanta Hawks games since I've been alive, since I've been able to watch sports.
And that's not even your team.
And I looked at the Atlanta Hawks standings last week and had no idea they had a losing record and no idea anything was wrong. And I went, I have an NBA podcast. This doesn't make sense. And as much as I love interacting with the community and this community, to echo Chuck's earlier words, especially if you know me, the notion that I would enjoy meeting people in real life that I have only interacted with on over the internet and not only found it heartwarming, but made me want to do it again and again is frankly not imaginable to me. So this podcast is the podcast and especially the community has changed my life for the better. I absolutely intend to, unlike Chuck just disappearing from Slack like a vagabond ghost, I intend to stay involved. But I'm happy to guest as often as Keith needs someone who's watching just Grizzlies games to guest. But I feel like it's time for me to hang it up. Like Keith said, it was 9.5 years. I still like the NBA, but I don't much care for my relationship with it. And kind of like I've done with other sports, I'm going to ease back and let my obsessive nature cool down a little bit and just kind of enjoy my team as it's led by Marcus Smart to about 27 wins this year.
And I would like to say, for clarity, you had already made this decision before Ja Morant was ruled out for the season.
That is true, but it's a lot funnier for it to just appear that Marcus Smart.
You're like, you know what? Ja Morant's out. I'm out. dudes, I'm not doing it anymore.
I'd like to thank Chuck for coming back on for this last show.
Huge thanks. Yeah.
I losing Chuck also plays a lot into it because I think when the three of us were together, it was extremely special. And I think Keith and I soldiered on as best as we could, but I don't think we ever were able to fully recapture it. And I think Keith does have a thing that he does very well by himself and with guests. But I do think the thing that made Fastbreak Breakfast special was the three of us bring our unique perspectives to kind of create this melange of BS. And I gotta say, Chuck, after the last 4 or 5 months of trying to podcast without watching any basketball games, really, I gotta give kudos to you, man. It's really hard.
Kudos to you.
Makes you feel
Incredible.
very strange, and I can't do it anymore. So,
yeah.
But again, the fans, I'm the only reason I'm not naming the number of fans.
Oh God, me either.
Who have changed my life for the better is because I'm honestly afraid I would miss somebody's name. But almost everyone in that Slack channel I've had such positive interactions with, made me learn things about myself and how to treat people in an online setting, which is a more and more important thing. When we started this podcast, I refused to acknowledge the notion of online communities or online fandoms having meaning, and I don't feel that way anymore. And I think that sometimes I think the world being a smaller place because the internet is devastating, and I think that's bared out in many ways. But in the case of the Fast Break Breakfast community, it's been a real boon to my life and something very positive that I plan to continue to indulge in. So this is not goodbye. It's definitely see you later and see you a lot less. But I'm glad Chuck could be here, and I'm glad I got to do this for 8.5 years with Chuck. And 9.5 years with Keith. I had a great time.
Well,
kudos to me.
For purposes of clarity for our listeners now, so this is John's last show. This is, to my understanding, Chuck's last show.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, Chuck is taking over now. It's just going to be Chuck.
It's my show.
It's just Chuck now.
We're just going to talk about Jaime Jaquez.
What's going to happen is I'm taking the rest of the month off for Fast Break Breakfast episodes. Of course, I have the Grizzlies podcast doing all that stuff over there. The show will relaunch I would guess in February, and it'll be different, of course. It will have a huge shoes to fill for all the years we did together. I agree with John's sentiments that when Chuck and John and I were sitting at the same table pre-COVID, it was magical. It was great. And it was, I thought, our goal was to create the content we wanted to consume, that we like to consume. And I felt like we did that. And I was super proud of that. So the show will relaunch, it'll be same podcast feed. The Patreon, the Slack, nothing's going away. The Dynasty League, nothing is going away. There's still Pickle Pick'em. That's not going away. There will still be bonus episodes. They will be without John, though. There will still be a bonus episode for you. So I'm still trying to sort of make a career as a basketball podcaster. And of course, without the Patreon support, that definitely would have been impossible. But now I think we finish it the only way we can, and that is to step into the funeral parlor for our final goodbyes. Friends, loved ones, cherished members of the Fast Break Breakfast community, we are gathered here to remember two great hosts and an era of Fast Break Breakfast, John Burr and Chuck Anderson, are moving to the sweet beyond of pressure-free basketball watching. Just joyous, no committal basketball viewing. The sweetest way.
I was the pre-3-point shot era, and Chuck was the cocaine-fueled 70s.
And as we remember their contributions, as we celebrate their wonderful runs, we say, do not cry or weep because it is gone, but just enjoy that we had a deal on Brooks, that we had our text from a Scorn Heat fan, that we had Jamal Murray oh so close to a Jacques watch, And now, as a final show of appreciation, there will be a reading of the names of the saints, of the faithful and generous who have supported us deeply for very, very long. And this is not a comprehensive list. I am sad that some names will be left out, but this is a list of the individuals who quite literally have produced the show through their generous pledges and their faithfulness. And some of these people who have been basically pledging since the very beginning. Thanks, deep, heartfelt thanks to Ryan Darling, to Daman Rangula, to Chris Howell, to Josh Herbertson, to Brian Morinway, to Varaf Nariman, to Kevin and Zach Solkowski, to Ian Carmel, to Sam Wilkinson, to Matt, aka Monte World Peace, aka Matthew.
Monte.
To Jesse Pitsley, to Paul Gromans, to Christopher Walters, to John Sakon, to David Smith, Matt Sullivan, Patrick Kirkner, Ben Hunter, Josh Rodriguez, Jonathan Brodag, Eric Kirkham, Jen Messier, and BJ Taft. Again, that's not a comprehensive list.
Whoa.
You can now throw in whatever names you want.
Did you say Joe Yoder?
And to Joe Yoder.
Jeez, man.
I was focusing on the people who are still Patreon supporters.
Joe Yoder!
Joe Yoder?
Those are our most faithful pledgers who have been in with us the longest time and given us the most obscene amounts of money. Thank you for everything. And with that, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, fast break to breakfast. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Rest in hell, Norbert, and stay off the counter.